Hey, and welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and we also have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle, a couple of weeks ago, you and I and my wife, we went to what could only be described as a hole-in-the-wall kind of restaurant.
A greasy spoon fish fry.
Yeah, it's kind of an unassuming place.
Yeah.
Right there off of the downtown road, if you will.
Yeah, off the side of the road.
Yeah, it's a kind of place that
It's got 12 tables and a bar.
Exactly. Yeah, and our friends across the United States will know exactly what kind of place we're talking about.
Sure, yeah, not quite a pub,
No,
but
a local
just
spot.
a local fish fry.
Yeah. They've got food.
Yeah, they got catfish highlighted.
Yeah,
They got gator tail.
yeah.
They got frog legs.
If you're in the American South, you know this place well.
Yeah.
It's not any particular place.
Yeah, it's not like a chain.
No. But
they're
your
everywhere.
hometown has one.
Yeah, for sure.
And if not, the town over from you definitely has one.
Yeah, you know where there's a good one.
Exactly. And so we took you there.
Yeah.
And what'd you think?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I've been by that place many times, but it never stopped because it's not really like on my beaten trail
Sure.
anywhere. But I had always been kind of curious about it, but I knew there was somewhere that my wife would never go. It's not her jam. It's just it doesn't fit her aesthetic.
Yeah.
But I was always curious about it. And so when you decided to take me there a few weeks ago, I was all about it. So was really excited to go. Loved it.
Yeah.
Took my daughter there a few nights ago.
And?
She also loved it. Like she's also a very good into the seafood delicacies that the South provides, and we had a great time.
Yeah, did you guys get oysters?
We did.
This is an oyster bar.
Oyster bar and fried everything.
Oyster bar and catfish emporium.
Yeah, they've literally got one side of the menu is like all the fish, and then the other side is all the same fish but fried. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, anyone in the South will know this place well.
Yeah, which ironically enough, my daughter got a blackened grouper sandwich
And?
with nothing but hush puppies. So she got literally like a dozen hush puppies.
Girl after my
off
own
to the
heart.
side.
I've said this before, but man, girl after my own heart. I'll have the fried fish on bread and a side of bread, please.
Yeah, she ordered it that way of like, can I get the blackened grouper, but could I just have it with hush puppies?
And they're like, absolutely.
Like, you just want hush puppies? Like, you don't want the fries and coleslaw? She's like, yeah, and I just want hush puppies.
And
She's
they're
like, got you.
Yeah, they know that order.
Yeah.
And how was it?
Yeah, no, she loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was great.
You got oysters though?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
we split a dozen oysters, and I had the catfish,
Yeah.
obviously, just like I had that night with you. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
We got there just in time.
Oh,
I think we got the last table, and then right as we got there, 4 other cars pulled up.
That's the best, dude.
Yeah,
we got there at the right
just in
time.
And I think that's gonna be the key, because it's like it's also not my other daughter's jam.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere that she would want to go and look forward to going. So the fact that me and Lorelai were able to go and have a great time, and the fact that we're just 2 of us,
Right.
we could probably sneak in a lot,
Yeah.
and not have to have a big wait.
Man, I love a place like that.
Yeah,
a
it's
little
great.
bit of cheese grit action. So good.
They got cheese grits.
You didn't? What? Yeah, I got the cheese grits when we were there.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I get, man. Cheese grits.
cheese grits.
Yeah, it's literally like white Southern grit with a slice of American on top. Yeah. Oh,
Sharp cheddar?
Nah,
Velveeta.
I think it's too fancy. I think it's more like a Cisco cheese. The wrapper, not the company.
A little slice of great value on top.
That's exactly it. Oh man, you want to drink something?
Yeah, no, I got this weird taste in my mouth. We should probably wash that out.
Oh man,
Just think about Velveeta.
why so thick and sort of creamy and cheesy, but not really.
But just plasticky.
Yeah. All right, so we've got a bottle this week. This was sent to us by our friends at Flaviar.
Flaviar.
Yeah, I know that we've talked about them before, but Flaviar, if you are a member of Flaviar, they'll not only send you some tasting samples every month, but they'll also send you a couple of bottles a year if you're part of, some sort of tiered membership kind of deal. It's one of those things.
Totally.
But they sent us this, and I've honestly been wanting to try this bottle for quite some time.
I have too. I've talked to several people about this bottle and wanting to try it because we are such fans of the Terra Noir of whiskey.
Exactly. And I've heard that this is like a perfect example.
Fantastic.
And what we're talking about is the Starward.
Starward.
What?
Like fast forward? Starward.
Yeah, I guess, but you don't say Starward.
Starward.
Starward. I know I recognize it's an A, but like you don't say Starward.
Okay, so it's
Starward.
Herd.
Starward.
Starward.
Starward. Yeah.
Starward.
Well,
Which way should we go? Starward?
Correct. Yeah. You don't go Starward.
What would you go? Forward?
Farward. Farward.
Forward.
Semantics, whatever.
Starward.
Yeah, so this is the Starward Nova. It's actually fairly easy to find, at least in our parts. But for whatever reason, like I see this bottle, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna try that eventually.
I mean, if you've got a wine totally,
right,
or a CBA, or a
XYZ,
yeah,
one of
stores,
those things, yeah, exactly.
They'll have this
probably,
almost guaranteed.
Yeah,
like I would say maybe not your just
mom and pop kind of place.
Yeah. I feel like I don't really ever see them there.
No, it's like big box liquor stores. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's you're right. That's where I generally see it.
Yeah.
But this is the Starward Nova. It's a single malt Australian whiskey.
Australia.
I can't do Australian.
Australia, mate.
Yeah, that works. I'll take it.
Aussie. It's an Aussie whiskey.
That's exactly what it is. And it's a single malt as well. It says elementally matured for 2 years in red wine barrels.
Oh, so it's a younger.
It is younger, yeah. But all the red wine barrels are also sourced from Australia as well. So it's not like they're taking,
Well, they know what they're doing with the wine.
Australia's got a bunch of good wines going on, yeah. This says truly Melbourne born and bred, but it's not Melbourne. It's Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uniquely Australian and a world first. Starward Nova is crafted exclusively with Australian wine barrels for maturation. Elementally matured in Australian red wine casks inherited from pioneering Australian wineries, the barrels are steamed, not charred, to retain the penetration of wine into the wood. Nova is our homage to Australian wine pioneers who paved the way for all premium Australian drinks that have followed. Dave Vitale, the founder.
Wow.
Yeah, this is obviously a product of Australia. Yeah, look at the bottle, man. Feel. I mean, this is a hefty bottle.
Yeah, it's got that inch of glass down there at the bottom.
Yeah, I love me a good glass, as you know.
Yeah, no, agreed. What did you say? Not charred?
No, it's steamed. So what they do is they take the barrels, they don't char them, they steam them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So my thoughts here that it opens up the pores of the wood, and allows more of that liquid in there, so that you get more of the wine exchange.
Nice.
So my assumption is it's probably going to be a little bit wine forward.
Yeah, it might be a little fruity.
Yeah, exactly. Just back to the bottle real quick. I love this just packaging and design. It's like that 50s kind of spacey. Just real simple space age kind of stuff.
Right.
You got like a starburst here. You got like a galactic kind of swirl on one side.
Yeah, that astro orbiter kind of aesthetic.
I love that.
Yeah. The future that we never got. I would imagine that the constellations that we're seeing there are probably accurate.
Probably.
I would assume to Australia.
I've never been to the southern hemisphere, so I don't know.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
You ready?
Yeah. Cranky. Cheers, mate.
I just want to point out synthetic cork.
Yeah. I don't hate them. Woo! Single malt.
Single malt, yeah.
It is malty.
It is malty, and it's fruity. It's jammy and fruity AF on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely get all that red berry wine influence
for sure
with all that malt.
It's hefty red berry influence.
Yeah, I've got I'm getting like red strawberry jam on a graham cracker.
That is spot on.
Or maybe just a biscuit.
I'm gonna say preserves. Like it's that like not super sweet. I mean it's sweet, but it's not like I got chunky bits. Like I'm not seeing chunky bits, but I'm like reminded of chunky bits.
It's a touch of tartness.
Yeah,
but yeah, just on a scone or on a biscuit or something.
Oh,
it smells great.
It smells fantastic. There's like some slight like dusty, weedy, leathery notes in the back there.
Yep.
Like push the wine barrel off to the side, and then it's like, oh, there's some Australian outback going on.
Yeah.
Not like the outback. Like you're not getting like a steak and some shrimp and stuff.
Oh man.
No brown bread for you.
No bloomin' onion.
No bloomin' onion for you.
Damn it.
Let's be honest. Those things are terrible for you anyway.
But they're fucking delicious.
God, that
smells great.
Delicious on the nose.
Yeah. 10
all
out of
day.
10.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't say color.
Oh yeah, it's pretty damn dark.
It really is.
For a
It's-
2 year.
For a 2... hey,
Sorry.
get out of my head.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
The fact that y'all extracted that much color out of a 2 year, supposedly.
Right. I mean, it could be artificial color.
Well, yeah, we don't know how Australia does things. They may feel it's okay to add color.
I wonder if it's because they're steaming the wood. Because they're opening up the pores of the wood by steaming it. My assumption is it allows more liquid transfer. And because it allows more liquid transfer, it's going to put more color into it.
I was hoping I could decipher, which I would certainly assume that it only being a 2-year-old whiskey, that this is their distillate.
I think it is.
Or it's at least distillate from Australia.
I think it is, yeah. There's nothing that tells me, at least in terms of like some very minimal research that I've done, that it's not their own.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything on there that says distilled at or that this is only bottled by or anything like that.
Right.
Just says product of Australia.
I will say this, like if you take a look at their website, they talk about the whiskey being elementally matured. And like I've never been to Australia, but from what their website says, and again, the minimal research I did, they go through crazy weather swings. So like it's not surprising to me that there's this much color on a young whiskey if they go from super cold to super hot and rainy and then so on and so forth, back and forth, over short periods of time.
Well, and like just not knowing what the steaming process is, but like knowing that it's red wine barrels, like there is definitely a red tint to this
for sure there
coloring. I suppose that all makes sense too.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
On to the palate.
to the palate.
Here we go. Say that in Australia. You're just going to add mate to the end. That's not fair.
Yeah, that is incredibly wine forward.
Super wine forward.
Yeah,
It is sweet.
yeah. That's up there as one of the sweetest straight whiskeys I've ever had.
Yeah.
That was not a flavored thing.
Like you could give this to me and say this is a flavored whiskey, and I'd be like, yeah, it's like a blackberry like flavored whiskey.
I could almost be convinced like you put this on ice and it's just like one of those like pre-mixed cocktails.
You're not wrong. It does come in at 41% ABV, 82 proof. It's not up there, but the first thing you're hit with is the malty nature. First you get just malt, but then like right away the malt is washed away, and you're hit with sweet red wine. It's like malt gone.
Yeah,
Sweet red wine.
yeah. Immediately you're drinking a malt whiskey, but then wow, so much red wine.
Yeah.
And like all the way through the end, like
Yeah.
all the way through the finish, just red wine.
But then you get to the end, and it makes sense in terms of like we were talking about the terroir. It makes sense of the drying nature of a red wine, like a big bold red wine, or it's like a little bit of like a just slight, not super like a deep dark like Argentinian Malbec or something, but like something that's like sweet and then like purses your lips just a little bit.
I can even get like grape juice.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of sweetness.
It is more wine nature than any kind of scotch that I've had with like a port finish or a Madeira cask finish or anything like that.
Yeah, completely agreed. Like super interesting in that aspect. And like just because like, Australian wine is so well regarded and had its moment in spotlight, it doesn't surprise me that they would choose to highlight their whiskey at such a young age.
Oh, yeah.
With that and try to marriage those things together.
Yeah.
I think that's a great call.
Yeah, because I wonder if you put more age on this, I don't think it's going to make it better because of how wine forward this is. Unless you're taking it out of that wine cask and then maybe putting it back into like a regular bourbon cask or something. Because of how so much wine nature is imbued within this at just 2 years.
Yeah, but I would disagree in like that. I'm hoping that with that age,
Yeah.
that would perhaps reduce that wine influence.
You think
and
mellow it?
let more of the malty nature come through. Perhaps because like I think that'd be my only knock on it is
Yeah.
that once the wine comes in, it's wine throughout.
Agreed.
If that wine would dissipate and then the malty deliciousness would come back up.
Sure.
Or even if it was just like a different note, if instead of like steaming the barrels, if they did go back and char them,
Yeah.
and then a bitter would come through at the end,
Right. Just
because-
something to offset the winey sweet.
Yeah, because right now it feels it's not like one note, but it's like two notes.
Yeah.
It's that that immediate. Yes, this is a malt whiskey, but then red wine.
Yeah, it's two
through
notes,
the end.
but it's like a 16th note, and then like a whole note.
Yeah.
It's like boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's malt and then wine.
Yeah, it doesn't adjust from
No,
that point in time.
no.
It gets to the note, and then it just rides that note.
Yeah. And I don't mind that note.
And it's a great note.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
You know, we've said that about several whiskeys of like it's not complex. It gets to the thing that it is, and you just write it.
Yeah.
And that's great. But I would love to think that like you put this on that oak for 10 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
what does it do?
Surely it must fluctuate at that point.
I'll say this: like, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Great start.
How many other Australian whiskeys have you had?
Not only that, but like how many other 2-year-old whiskeys have you ever had?
That's
that
where
you're
I was going.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, obviously, we've had a bunch of 2-year whiskeys, and it's like, yeah, okay. But like for that to have, I'll say this: for that to have as much flavor as it does at 2 years,
Yeah.
that's impressive. Like they clearly know they're onto something here.
Yeah. I think that there's definitely an interesting idea between a malt whiskey and this type of red wine.
Right.
And then so now it's just like, yeah, all right, so now where can you add the complexity and add depth to it?
I think you're right. It's the depth. That's what it lacks. It has those notes that I already like, but I want more depth to this. You're not giving me enough depth.
Yeah.
All right, now that we've got a pour here,
Yeah.
what do you want to talk about this week?
I want to talk about something that kind of drives me crazy. Happens to me.
Crazy.
I just can't sleep.
I just can't sleep.
Man, Britney Spears over here. Incredible.
Something about in too deep.
I'm so excited.
I'm in too deep.
There it is. Oh,
Crazy.
nice. Because it feels all right.
Feels all right.
Yeah. Baby thinking of you
Makes me.
keeps me. No,
Let me finish it. Keeps me up all night.
See, I think it was better without it.
Okay.
Left the people waiting,
All right.
urging for more. It's a thing that happens to me. I'm gonna say it happens about twice a year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. Drives me nuts every time it happens, but it just happened to me just a few days ago.
Oh, it's that season?
It's not really a seasonal thing. It just happens. I grew up in the age of video game. I'm gonna call it the golden years.
Pong and Frogger. Yeah, I know.
Well, just the arcade, but I was primed for
Sure.
the Nintendo,
Agreed.
and then the Super Nintendo,
Agreed.
and then the Nintendo 64. Like video games have always been a part of my life.
Agreed.
So when cell phones came around, you know, we had Snake.
Oh, good old Snake.
You know, and you loved a good little game that you could have in your hand to just kind of pass the time here or there, you know, like just pick it up and, you know, play it for a few minutes.
Or Tetris on the TI 80 somethings. Did you ever do that?
Mm-mm.
Oh man. Well, did they not have advanced math in Alabama?
What's a TI? No, we had Texas Instruments in Alabama. I don't remember having Tetris on it though.
Oh yeah, man. I had Tetris.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I've got 5, 6, 7 years on you. So, you know, makes sense. Makes sense.
We were really advanced.
Mine was a TI 34.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had like a TI 97.
Anyway,
I've always been a sucker for a good, you know, game on my phone
yeah.
that I could use to pass the time. However, I hate when these games come out and I download this game just to pass the time, but it ends up absolutely like dominating my focus for like an entire day.
Yeah.
To the point that I have to like the next day when I wake up, I've got to be like, I've got to delete that. I've got to get that off my phone. I can't play this as just a fun, hey, here's 10 minutes, here's 20 minutes to mess around, because that turns into 2 hours.
Easily.
Yeah. And it just drives me nuts that things exist that so specifically tap into your dopamine
Oh yeah.
levels that they can do that. Like the graphics are just pretty enough, and the tasks are just complicated enough. There's just enough strategy involved,
And the stakes are just low enough.
Yeah. The worst part about it is the tier system of how
Right.
you can work your way up and open up new abilities and stuff like that. Like this whole science and the chemistry involved with these types of games frustrate me to no end,
dude. And I'm right there with you, because it's very clear, especially when you download one of those games. There's like, you're being manipulated and you just can't stop.
Yeah,
because it's to me, it's almost as if, okay, so you have the game developers, and then you have like this psychologist who's like, okay, yeah, do this, but then also make this thing like just a little more flashy.
Yeah,
you got them. You got the suckers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, oh
yeah. There's so much psychology involved, and I legit think like chemistry of like how they're tapping into your like brain chemistry.
Oh, for sure.
That's gonna keep you addicted and driven on this thing, and like it just drives me nuts. But it happens to me like literally like twice a year.
Yeah,
I'll download a game and I get addicted to it for like 24 hours, and then I've got to be like, nope, get it off my phone.
Yeah,
this is a bad thing.
I realized lately, and so we have through our phone plans, Carol and I have the Apple Arcade.
Right.
So I've realized lately my eyes start to hurt when I'm focusing on the small screen. So like I downloaded a game very similar to what you just said that I was like into. Right. And I didn't know why. It was like some sort of weird like oil game. Like you were like an oil pioneer. And like, blah, 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 blah. And like at some point I was like, I got to go harvest my oil. What am I like? And like I'm waking up at like 3 a.m. thinking about this game.
Right.
I'm like, but if I harvest my oil now, and then it's gonna like take like, you know, blah blah blah. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're like, why?
Yeah.
And I think like this is coming from someone who is generally a self-reflective person,
right?
And generally is a hyper aware of these things, and I'm getting sucked into it.
Yeah.
So like I worry about people who are like, just unfettered, give me the thing.
Sure, yeah.
And like,
yeah. Well, like there was a game, I think even you played it for a little while. There was this game that was it was a golf-based
coffee
game.
golf.
Mm-mm.
No, not
this
that
was
one?
pre-coffee golf. This was like several years before coffee golf. Coffee golf was the same way though.
Oh yeah.
I eventually had to just like
I stopped.
Get it out of here.
Well, once you kind of stopped like sending me back and forth coffee golf stuff, I was like, I'm done.
No, this was it was like I forget what it was called, golf clash.
Yeah.
But it was very much it was one of the games that was a pay to play to have success at the game.
Yes, and you bought something into it or something.
At one point in time, I did buy like a $10 thing.
Yeah, like a level up pack or something.
But I used to love that, and then that game got to the point that like you clearly got to a level where it was people who were buying to get all the special stuff.
Yeah.
And the people who weren't. And if you got up to that level, you could not succeed.
There was no moving forward
unless you had the special stuff. And so like then it lost its ability. Now this is not necessarily what I'm talking about in these like 24-hour dopamine fits that I'm specifically talking about, because I played that game for quite a while. I played that game for months, but it was a clear thing. But why that one was interesting is like I did have another friend that was also into that game, and years later, after I had stopped playing it, he told me, he's like, "Oh man, I spent so much money on that game."
Whoa!
And I was like, "No kidding." I was like, how much money are you talking about? He's like, definitely like a couple of thousand.
What?
Of like buying all the special stuff. Because like you would buy, a special thing. Here's $20 here, and you get 200 special golf balls to use to do this. And then I'd go through them, and then he's like, yeah, I'm like a couple $1,000.
Oh my God.
And that just blew my brain apart that he had spent a couple of $1,000, which that's always been my thing too, of like, I come from the generation of like you spend your $50 to buy the game and you get everything.
Right, you're done.
Like the DLC packages and stuff like that didn't exist when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was just like you get the thing.
I got the game.
And then if you ever want more content, it's because they came out with a second version with all new stuff.
Right.
So like the idea of like, no, I'm going to continually buy into this thing over and over and over again has never made sense to me.
Whoa.
But yeah, I was so just like absolutely shocked by that he had spent that kind of money on it. Was amazing to me.
On a mobile phone game.
Yeah, just a little mobile phone game.
But like I'm also I say whoa, but if I stop and think about it, I'm not surprised, because what you said about your your fits, if you will.
Right.
it's all about the dopamine aspect.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hit me with that dopamine, give me a quick fix, make me feel good for 5-10 minutes. You got me.
Yeah. And so many of these games, there is that timer element.
Right.
And I noticed on this game that I did the other day, that timer was about 10 minutes of I set the thing up to do a task. It'll allow me then to go do other things that are kind of arbitrary.
Right. But you got to come back.
But they fit that 10-minute time limit of like, if I come over here and do this thing twice, that equals out to just about 10 minutes. So when I come back now, I can upgrade the thing.
Right. And then it's got me for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's got me for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that stuff.
And the way they do it, it's like also too, okay, you can go and put the phone down, but like this thing's still gonna run. You have to
you still got that 10-minute
time
limit on your head.
It's ticking.
Like, all right, has that been enough time? Should I go back and check?
Right.
Hate it.
Hate
it so much.
I hate to kind of go the cynical route here, but it's like these game developers are clearly preying on our base level animalistic dopamine driven instincts.
Yeah.
And it's like, y'all figured it out.
Yeah.
And like,
for sure.
No wonder that, something like Angry Birds just kills. And that's even like more base level than that. It's not even like on the same level of kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, like Angry Birds at least had specific levels, and it was also in that time period of there was some sort of control to it. Sure. Of you could only play like 5 times within a certain amount of time, and then you would lose your thing, and you have to wait an hour to reload your lives or something like that. There was at least that. Like this game that I'm talking about that I got sucked into the other day, there was none of that.
Yeah.
And there was no commercials.
Right.
So it was just like immediate, just like satisfaction.
Yeah.
But at least Angry Bird had the levels, and you could kind of see it. I would put that in the same kind of a context of like Candy Crush. Loved me some Candy Crush back in the day. And like eventually like you get to a point, and it's the same thing with Angry Birds. Like you got to a point in it where it was like the levels are just too hard. It takes like the specific just right combination of luck and stuff to let you progress to the next level, and then you start all over again.
Yeah.
This other game that I just got sucked into was the opposite of that, where it's just like, it's just mindless, dumb, but like, again, applies just the right amount of strategy and stuff.
Yep.
And I can think of like 3 or 4 games like that over the past 2 or 3 years that I just get sucked into for like 24 hours. And like, luckily, at this point in time, I've begun to realize, get out of this.
Yeah.
You all right, you just wasted a day,
right?
Basically, screwing around on this thing. But like, man, like that dopamine rush of really short accomplishment.
Yep.
At the beginning of the game, and just that right splash of achievement and forward progress, and new abilities and new levels and stuff like that can get you so insanely locked in. But for whatever reason, I'm always on about a 24-hour time period.
Well, and I think like,
because then I get to that point the next day, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this.
Well, I think like it's you recognizing this could turn bad quick. If I'm gonna give myself over to it,
sure,
because like it's that like self-reflective perspective. I mean, we've talked about this in the past of like, okay, how far am I gonna lean into? At least this is me. I'm projecting onto you, I guess, in some cases. But like, how far am I gonna lean into this? Like, do I actually care about this thing?
I guess it is that, and it's like I'm to the point where I'm not gonna be willing to keep up this amount of activity on it,
right,
simply because like there's not enough forward expectation. Well, the game's not going to change dramatically,
right?
You know, like I did the thing. I spent way too much already, too many hours, screwing around on this thing, and there's really no suggestion that there's anything greater than this immediate thing,
right?
And that certainly loses potential after about that amount of time period. So but it's like, at the same time, it's like I don't really know what they have to gain from it. And like I see what you're saying of like the unfettered version of the person that is Like, oh yeah, here's $100. Let me get all the coin or whatever I need to move past all these other things to get to the next thing. But then like the next thing is just more of the same.
Well, and I think like it's also like I hate to say it this way, but I think it's preying on children and teens too, who are downloading games. I don't know exactly what you were playing, but downloading games that are very, very similar, that are geared towards kids, that are like, hey, all you gotta do is just ask your parents for $6.99,
right?
And then like then you're gonna get blah blah blah, and then like they just $6.99 more, then you get blah blah blah,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like you've got a phone, 15-year-old that's linked to your parents' credit card
you
account.
Need to ask them. Just push
do
this
the
button.
thing. Yeah, exactly. You want instead of like a 30-second wait, it could be a 0-second wait. Right. You can get it right now. You don't even need to see this ad. It takes 30 seconds.
My favorite one was this one about chickens, and you were basically harvesting chickens, and you would buy a bigger hen house so you could have more chickens, and then your chickens would you'd have to select them. Once the hen house got full, you'd move all your chickens and they'd all come out of the chicken coop and walk down the path and go over here and go into this other thing, and then I don't even remember. I just remember the fucking chickens. That I remember that one so clearly because that was the first one. Like you had these silos and you'd upgrade your silos so they'd be bigger and hold more chickens. And, oh man, you got to get your chickens over there. And I remember that one of just being like so enthralled for that day.
Yeah.
Of harvesting those chickens and moving them around and how many eggs can I produce and all this kind of stuff. And at the end of it, just being like, what a wasted day of messing around with these chickens. Delete the game immediately.
So my first pause is like I want everyone to go back about 30 seconds and just listen to Kyle talk about that, like the fervor that he had for that thing.
Yeah.
And like that's me. That's me going like, whoa, I just wasted an entire day with these chickens.
Yeah.
Or my version
digital
of that.
chickens.
Yeah, like like I've had versions of that, obviously not the chickens, but like, I got to get the bigger silo.
Yeah.
Got to get the more chickens.
Yeah, bigger truck.
Right, or whatever.
Haul all the eggs.
It's like, what?
Yeah. But again, it's that there's just enough mixture of accomplishment of like, I just need the thing. It's only going to take 15 minutes for that thing to upgrade so that I can then get that. And then once that's done, I'll be able to get the bigger truck because then I'll be making more money. It's that style of game, which I feel like they're all so similar. Like, I'm so like, I recognize it in myself that I am in some strange way susceptible to those games. Yeah. And I hate that, like the one that just happened to me, it's the advertisements for them.
Yeah.
While you're scrolling, while you're doing your morning scroll, here's an advertisement for it. And the advertisements are so smart because they show some idiot playing the game and you're sitting there like, no, don't send your guy that way. No. Oh, he sent his guy that way.
Yeah.
If you just put the guy that way, that happens easily.
Or like
you win the game.
Why are you touching these two things? Like these other things need to happen. Like
what are you doing?
Right.
And so it makes you want to go and just show. You're like, see, you see how easy this is?
Yeah.
An idiot would do this.
Yeah. An idiot is doing it because I'm doing it right
here
now.
I am stuck in here for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving these chickens around.
For sure.
Got me.
Again, my fear is not you. And I'm not saying you're better than like the elevated past the populace. That's not what I'm saying. But like my fear is someone who's like has no real reflective nature and wants to think about like, why do I care about these chickens? That's my fear.
I feel like your fear is like present fear. My fear is 10 years from now. It's no longer just we've got you to be sucked into this for a day.
Sure.
We've now figured out the absolute algorithm to be you're now addicted to this for a year.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Or we got you for several $1,000s.
Yeah. We've dialed it in and there's just enough accomplishment along with new, better graphics, along with better storytelling. It's not just chickens anymore. Now it's chickens and
space aliens.
Pigs. Yeah. Like they figured out how to get you absolutely engaged into it.
Oh man.
and how that's just the fall of society.
On that note, you got anything else?
Yeah, guys, I still got a little bit of the Starward whiskey over here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna finish what's in my glass. While I'm doing that,
That's what I'm saying. Like, we still got some in the
yeah,
glass.
okay.
Yeah.
We'd love to know what everyone else thinks about these kind of like mindless games that we all are playing at some point.
Absolutely. Please tell me what is that game for you?
I don't want to know. Tell Kyle. I don't want to know.
I really do. I really want to know.
Listen, I don't want to know because I don't want to be like, man, I want to see.
I'm
what that
so
looks
tempted to download that corn one that I keep seeing the ads for. Like, I want to see what it's like to build that corn farm.
Yeah, no,
and to get all the farmers happy and get the trucks coming in there and carrying off the corn. I know I got the itch.
Okay,
but I just did this other one, so I've got to wait like 6 months, and I'll try that corn one.
We also want to know, what do you think about the Starward Nova?
That Aussie whiskey.
And what other experiences with Australian whiskey have you had?
Surely none. But tell me about your favorite kangaroo.
You ever had kangaroo?
Have I ever had?
Yeah, like eaten it?
No. Have you?
I have.
What?
Yeah, it tastes like, I know everybody
says super chewy and rubbery. How have you had kangaroo?
Is that a restaurant? I feel like
it's illegal.
No, it's not.
Gotta be.
It's not.
It's not fair game.
I don't remember the situation, but I know that I've had it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We've wasted this episode.
Well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. Come find us and see a thing and laugh at a thing and share a thing and comment on a thing. But first, like that thing.
If we're not friends on the social medias, just make us be friends.
Reach out.
Yeah, we'll be friends back with you. And we'd also love it if you support the podcast. You can do so through our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/DrepandStone. You can also rate Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. You can also get your own bottle of Starward Nova by going to flaviar.com. And listen, save yourself a bit of money. Type in DSP10 as a promo code when you're checking out. And you save a little bit of money. Can be used towards shipping, can be used towards other bottles, whatever it is that you'd like to do there. And finally, Kyle.
Yeah?
You can support Drep and Stone by telling someone about Drep and Stone.
Yeah, just sharing the good word.
You're watching
Deadpool Wolverine. Have you seen the trailer?
I have.
You want to talk about it?
No, not really.
Another episode.
I don't care.
Another episode.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Another episode. You're watching something with Hugh Jackman in it.
Or Nicole Kidman. Or you're watching the movie Australia with both Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman in it.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth. What's wrong with us?
Yeah.
You're watching a movie with Chris Hemsworth in it.
Like Avengers Age of Ultron.
I was going to go Extraction or Extraction 2, but yeah, that works too. And you're like, you know what? He looks like he could use a drink.
Yeah.
What would Chris Hemsworth drink?
Probably
water.
Foster's.
Correct. But if he didn't drink Foster's and he wanted a whiskey, he's probably drinking Starward Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. But you're watching this movie and you turn to your friend who you're watching it with and you're like, hey.
Hello. Good day.
Top
of the morning.
Would you like some whiskey? Because we're watching this Australian guy.
You bet, mate.
Did you know that there's a podcast that actually just covered this whiskey?
Diggery-doo.
Diggery-doo?
Is it not diggery-doo?
It was didgeridoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like some?
Yeah, mate.
By the way, the podcast is called Drep and Stone.
Well,
yeah.
Slap a kangaroo.
DREP and Stone.
Incredible.
I think the word you're looking for is crikey.
Crikey.
Right. Give me that glass right there. Thank you.
What?
Give me that glass. I'm gonna pour some of the Starward Nova into
it. Sure.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Download a couple episodes of Drep and Stone.
You got it.
All right, I'm gonna stop talking so we can watch this Chris Hemsworth movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to say real quick.
Yeah.
What you're holding, that's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah.
On that note,
hey buddy.
May your glass overflow
and your ass never show. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Aye. Throw a few shrimp on the bobby.
Good one.
Thanks. I was channeling my inner Margot Robbie.
You sounded just like her. It was incredible. Do you come from the land down under?
I do, where the beer flows and the men chunder.
Chunda?
Mm-hmm.
Wonder what that means.
Can't you hear? Can't you hear the thunder?
Yeah.
Well, you better run. You better take cover.
Yeah. I wonder what chunder means.
I don't know.
Like over chunder?
I don't know. Like in a den in Bombay.
Yep.
With a slack jaw. Not much to say.
Yep.
This song is just so weird. Traveling in a fried out combi on a hippie trail, head full of zombie. I met a strange lady. She made me nervous.
Ooh.
She took me in and gave me breakfast.
Nice.
And she said,
I'm a land from a man down under.
do you come from a land down under?